What's up, guys? It's Pry the RC Guy, and we're back on one of the final steps of the semi. Here's the chassis. We're completely done with the chassis. Off camera, we did mount the tires, installed the tires. The rear end is installed. The body plates are on here. The servos finally came in too. These are some 20 gram DS servos off Amazon. They're digital and they're all metal. So we're gonna see how they work. They're relatively cheap, but the kit, again, like I keep saying, was a very nice kit. Battery trays installed underneath here. Everything seems to be working and functioning as it should. So now we're gonna get into building and painting the body. So today it's all about painting before we can do the final assembly. So I have a bunch of stuff here from Tamiya. Almost everything I could get at my local hobby store that they had in stock. So I'm pretty much following the box instructions for what needs to be done, especially with the colors that they want to do. Only thing I changed was the color of the body, just because they want to, I think they call it a dark mica blue. Is very, very, very dark. It was not something that really popped, and I always like my models to pop, especially if I'm spending this kind of money. So what I went ahead and did is I bought a bunch of brand new stuff just for this build specifically, and I'm going to go through them. So we have our base, which is a Tamiya surface primer, and I do suggest using their paints. They're very good quality paint. They're formulated specifically for these plastics. Okay, the color I chose to go with was their only purple, believe it or not. Purple is my favorite color. This is a nice purple. Looks like it's going to pop. It's a little darker than I would like. I think it was like $7 at my local hobby store. This is their gloss purple. So if you want to know that part number is TS24. The part number for the surface primer. Oh, where are you? You don't, oh. So they didn't want to include a part number here. It's covered up by the sticker. Ah, Lord. No, it does not. We have no part number here on the sticker. But this is their surface primer gray for plastics. And then finally, I believe this is a TS13, which is their gloss. Yes, a TS13. This is their gloss clear coat, which we're going to finish off the body with. And that's what we'll be painting the body with. And I'll take you through the steps of doing that. We also have here some Tamiya cement. I kept it all original. This is going to be used to be gluing some of the interior pieces together. This is not a quick setting glue, so keep that in mind. This will take a good couple minutes to harden and a good couple hours to harden fully. But I did want to keep everything pretty much authentic. Besides, the local hobby store did not have one color I needed. So we do have some X20A, which is just some regular Tamiya thinner. I just got a small bottle for the purposes of this video. XF66 is the part number here, which is I think this is like a silver. It's a light gray. So we'll go ahead and mix that up. These are acrylic paints too, I'm using. And then we have X11, which is a chrome silver. I believe this is used for the seats or some detail parts. And then they didn't have the X11, or the X18, I believe it is, which is the black. So I went with the Revell. Their new line of paints that the store had is actually kind of cool. It is an acrylic. They call it their aqua color. This is a very light black. It's almost like a deep gunmetal gray I went with. I believe they call this anthracite, which is part number 36109. So I'm going to try out this paint. They said it's a very good quality paint, and we're going to see how this one does. This one's a bit more money. This is $4 for this, where the Tamiya paints are only $2.50. And then the last thing is the paint retarder little trick that Tamiya has, which is kind of cool. This is $4.50. And what this does is it slows down the drying time. So when you're painting with brushes, which I do have a nice set of universal brushes here. We have some flat, wide ones for doing the dash. We have some thin pinstripers to do some of the detail work, some of the black around the windows that you'll be seeing. And what this does is it slows it down. I believe it's a 1 to 110 scale. So you only put about 4 to 5 drops in with the paint. I also bought this aluminum palette from AK Paints. This is what we're going to use to mix in our paint retarder with our colors. And then we just got a simple pack of pipettes to be sucking the paint out and keep everything nice and clean. There's many different companies that make these. This is from Vallejo. They were $3.99. So when you brush stroke on, this paint retarder will allow you to do multiple brush strokes, and the paint will spread evenly, so you won't see those strokes. Because this is a relatively thick paint, this will put it on a little bit thinner. It also slows down the drying time, like I said. So this should make it look like a more uniform or sprayed paint job. So we're going to go ahead and see how this works. It has great reviews online. And yeah, so we will be painting the seats, even though the seats will not be installed at the complete end of this series, because this box here goes in its place, which is the multi-function box. It's where the speaker mounts, and this actually goes inside of the cab where the seats would be. So I'm not going to go ahead and install this yet, since I don't have the multi-function kit yet. I'm actually looking into the Bear, I think it's MFC1 kit, which is really in depth, and it's pretty much an enhancement of the multi-function kit. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is how to hook up the vibration function, which I don't see that Bear has yet, but I'm still researching it. I know I'm doing this a little ass backwards, but I will be installing the multi-function kit. It will just be later on in the video, so we may have to take some things apart, and I knew that was going to be so. I really didn't care, because I know it's going to be some time. It's going to be a relatively long-term project. So for today, we're going to be painting interior pieces, and then we're also going to be spraying the body. So with that, we have step one. I'm going to go ahead and flip you guys around over here. And what I did was I popped out all the interior pieces, the side panels, and then the body. And what we did was we washed this in hot soapy water with some Dawn dish soap, and that releases, the mold release is what they put on these to get it out of the molds, and that will stop the paint from adhering. So we washed these, that's a trick, to help the primer stick. So these bodies are actually very good. There's not many defects on them. So I'm going ahead and I'm letting them dry right now, and then we're going to start with the primer. We're going to see how the primer lays and see if we need to spray. I also bought one other thing here, like I said, to keep it authentic. Let me just find it real quick. Here we go. I actually bought some Tamiya brand sandpaper. This is their finishing paper. There's 1200, 1500, and 2000. We'll also be using this to finish the body. So to get a perfect automotive style paint job on this, with the rattle cans, it's probably going to come out orange peeled. And what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to wet sand the body, and then we're going to compound and wax it, and you're going to see the difference and just how beautiful this thing looks. You wouldn't even know a difference. we're gonna go ahead and use our surface primer on the body. Have it all set up in my little makeshift paint booth here. I did the backside panels just to test it out. So we're gonna do a real light dusting coat, the first coat. That's pretty much any time you're painting with spray paint to get a good adhesion. It's way better to do typically about 3 lighter coats than 1 big coat. We want to start off to the side and do lights. You don't want to spray blotches on the body where you'll get high and low spots. All right, so here we go. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna let that dry for 10 minutes. Alrighty guys, and we are back. We got that pretty purple. Our primer came out. These are our nice light 3 coats. I didn't even have to sand this. I mean, it really makes a huge difference when you're just in a clean environment and also when you wash the body. Very, very important. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna lay down our first light coat of purple. We're gonna see how this pops. So we're gonna test it first off the model. And here we go with our quick light coats. All right, and we're back from our 10-minute break. And we're gonna go ahead and give her a second coat. I would say a little heavier, not too much heavier. Now here we are on the cap, and I want to show you guys right here. See, this is what happens when you go a little happy with the coats. Right there you can see we have a drip line in the primer, so we're gonna go ahead and have to wet sand that out, or else you are gonna see that, definitely gonna see that through the base and through the clear. The rest of this piece came out beautiful. I mean, literally flawless. It's a shame I did that. But we have our Tamiya sandpaper here, and I'm using 1200 grit. So it's pretty thin. This may take a bit, but the primer coats aren't super thick, so we're just gonna go ahead and wet this sandpaper down. And then we're just gonna start sanding that down slowly, little by little, just taking out that ridge. All right, so I'm gonna show you what it looks like when we're done. It's all in the technique, but like I said, you just wanna go slowly, little bits at a time, and just knock down that ridge until it's smooth and even with the rest of the primer. All right, guys, we're back. We got her fully coated. That's 3 coats. And just look, I mean, look at that pop. And this thing's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen any Tamiya semi in this purple, but I mean, that came out beautiful. Couple light coats. I got a couple tiny little things up here on the hood, unfortunately. But other than that, I mean, this thing, it came out wicked nice. So we're on to the last step, which is the clear, and then we're gonna wait about a week to polish it. So here's that gloss clear. It's gonna really gonna make this thing pop. So I made sure this can is nice and warm. It's like 75 degrees, and then I shook it on and off for about a minute. Make sure everything in there is nice and fluid. A couple test sprays, and here we go. All right. All right, guys. We are back a few hours later, and we got everything done. Now look at this. Not too bad, right? Paint retarder. Key. Absolutely key. This stuff came out great. Look at the wheel. That's in that that anthracite, so it's not quite black, but I think it's gonna pop real nice with the purple. And look at that body, just have it set on there. Woo, that is 4 coats of Tamiya gloss clear coat. We're gonna let this harden up for about a week. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna buff it, but I mean, look at the shine on here. You see here, we got a little bit of orange peel in the clear. That's bound to happen with a rattle can, but we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that. But outside of that, I mean, you almost don't even need to, I mean, for picture purposes and video purposes. I think it's a cool color. I never seen a semi that's purple. I'm always trying to do something different. So that is it for this episode. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to install the interior. I'm looking at different multifunction kits. Don't just want to drop a Tamiya kit in there. I may, but I have some other ideas of some other different kits that I'm thinking about trying out. So we're going to continue on the build. We're going to start assembling the body with the grill, the mirrors, the exhaust, and then of course we're going to go ahead and put the interior in along with some decals. So thanks guys for following me on this week's episode of how to paint the Tamiya semi night hauler, whatever version you have. This is is how I do it, and this is my journey. Alrighty guys, a little bit of a change up here. Like I said, I'm definitely no expert painter, but there was way too much crap in that paint. I did not like that Tamiya paint at all. I took this body down. I've been sanding it for quite some time now. There was also some stuff you can see here. These were raised spots. I got stuff in the base coat here because I had the body right in front of my heater return vent, so it was just sucking dust right past it. So I made sure I turned my heat off this time. Yeah, that was smart. But if you could see, I wish I could show you before, but I mean, it's slightly lighter, but look at the pop on this. I mean, I took this down very far, but look at that. There's almost nothing in this paint. This is just a gloss paint too. That's no clear. And what I went with was Rust-Oleum paint and primer, Bonds plastic. I finally said screw it. I was done spending $9 a can on tiny little Tamiya paints. I mean, I know it can be done maybe on smaller models. You know, I've seen amazing jobs, but yeah, this worked better for me. A lot better. There's a ton more paint I can do. I can layer up more coats. That's just 2 coats, and that piece looked just about like this when I was done with them. This I did 1,200, 1,500 down to 2,000. And then I went ahead and I also bought some 3,000 grit that we're going to sand down this clear with, along with some scratch and swirl remover. So not like a heavy compound. This is like a very, very mild compound, just in case there's anything in the clear. And just to get the polish after. I'm going to sand it down with probably just 3,000. I don't think I'm going to have to start with 2. I may. I am wet sanding over here with that. This Tamiya Sandpaper, definitely good stuff. But I'm probably just going to do I may do the base coat with this 3,000, depending how much stuff is in there. I mean, it looks pretty good right now. And then I'll probably do the clear with this, and then buff it out by hand with the scratch remover. And then I have some liquid wax I use on my camper from West Marine. I left this Good McGuire's compound in my car, and it's destroyed. I don't know. It's all separated. I try to warm it up and shake it up over a couple hours, but it's just not working. I got some brand new microfibers too. Make sure we don't get nothing in the paint. So that's where I'm at, guys. So for those of you that have luck with the Tamiya cans, I would love to know maybe what I did wrong, but like this body is very, very big. I'm thinking maybe most people just paint the smaller, like 132, 118 scale models with those little jars. I have before, and I've had good results. But the paint was spread too thin. I mean, even just sanding lightly with 12 and 1500, I was going through the paint very quickly, way more quickly than I should have been. So I didn't like that. I think I would have had to use at least 2 to 3 cans of that Tamiya paint, and then 2 to 3 cans of the primer on this. I mean, that would have cost $40, $50, which is ridiculous. So this is the step I took. So I'll definitely show you guys the finished product after I get this body done and after I get the roof done.